Biofuels is one of the 5 planks of campaign against climate change areas of action, and I've been delighted about that for a long time. I was first active with campaigning against climate change in 2005 when really, apart from Rising Tide, it was about all that was out there. Since then I've been heavily involved in the transition movement, which is about saying yes and inventing the new paradigm, but there are some things that we absolutely have to say no to because they will not give transition a chance. And extreme energy, and biofuels in particular, is that, basically. Biofuels could foreclose on global agriculture in decades, at which point civilization doesn't have much of a chance. I hope we can all agree that biofuels, bioenergy, industrial bioenergy is not a way forward. It's an excuse not to change. It adds more carbon to the atmosphere than the fossil fuels it seeks to replace. It trashes the carbon sinks, the ecosystems that are the life support mechanisms of our planet, and reduces our possibility of having a good outcome. It is the shortcut to the edge of the climate change cliff, basically. It involves land grabs, human rights abuses. It's the new colonialism, and it forces up price rises, food price rises, particularly in the global south, but globally. So it's not a way forward. Why then is Kyoto and the government pursuing it? Well, it's all based on a very basic carbon accounting error, which assumes that carbon emitted from the burning or the use of natural biological resources is taken up by the next generation growing on. But it's a lot quicker to burn a tree than it is to grow one. And that produces a carbon spike, a carbon debt, the payback of which can take decades to centuries, at a time when we should be taking carbon out of the atmosphere, not allowing processes or policies that emit more of it. Under Kyoto, emissions from biofuels are basically zero counted. The government has been putting subsidies in place under the renewal obligation certificates for bioliquids and biomass. They aim for a 15% renewables by 2020, I think, and of that the aim is probably about 11% bioenergy. That is catastrophic. This serious accounting error has been pointed out by the European Environment Council's Scientific Committee in a report in 2011, and by numerous peer-reviewed scientists, including Tim Searching of Princeton University, who leads on this. And it shows that basically, and if you don't take into account very important effects of using biofuels, for instance, the effect of land use change, converting forest to plantation, indirect land use change, the people who were in that forest knocking down more forest to grow the food that they grew on that space before, markets being transferred, and basically it's a huge growth industry and the planet cannot support that level of growth. Last year, 9.4% of electricity generated in this country was generated by renewables. Cue for clap. Except that 77% of that 9.4% was from bioenergy. And increasingly, that bioenergy is not coming from landfill gas, it's coming from forests in the global south, in America, in Canada, in Russia, being clear-felled to supply pelleting plants to supply the big energy companies in this country. That means we don't even get energy security out of it, because it's part of a global market, which we can easily be outbid in, and it's got to be shipped in. We should have learned from liquid natural gas when Qatar was just diverting tankers that were destined for Milford Haven to people who paid a few more pounds. So, the big expansion now is biomass for electricity, and particularly the big energy companies doing conversions from their existing huge, old, inefficient coal installations to burning or co-firing with biomass. These installations, these initiatives emit 50% more carbon than the coal that was previously being burnt, often for many decades, creating that carbon debt. They are causing the clear felling I was talking about, and the replacement of those old, ancient, biodiverse forests with monocultures of things like eucalyptus, green deserts as they're sometimes called. The pollution is basically the same, except that the small particulate pollution is much, much more deadly. So, coal to biomass conversions. Where are they happening? 2 weeks ago, Tilbury got planning permission, and it will burn 7 million tonnes a year of wood. Ironbridge, Drax, Eggborough, Lynmouth, all power stations with consent to convert between 50 and 100% biomass. Together, they will emit. They will consume 50 million tonnes a year of wood. The government says 80% of it imported. 50 million tonnes is 5 times the total wood production of this country. So I think it's going to be a bit more than 80%. I think it's going to be knocking on 98%. And that's coming from the US, from Canada, from Russia, from the Baltic states, from Portugal, from South Africa, increasingly from Brazil, where there's 6.7 million hectares of monoculture eucalyptus, and they are experimenting with GM on those trees. So another scary field of expansion under this industry. With the new build biomass power stations, that could be up to 70 to 80 million tonnes of imported wood a year going up in smoke in this country. It's support.
What's the difference between the 50 million and 70 to 80 million? Sorry.
The 50 million is the existing old coal installations which have permission to convert, and they will be burning well, they have to burn at more than 37% efficiency, but 37% efficiency at the end of the day means that only 1 tree in 6 actually ends up as electricity going down the line. The rest of it is waste, is ecosystems trashed for pollution. The additional is new builds which start up and the big companies are planning.
Duncan, can I ask you to
Yes, yes, surely. What I wanted to bring your attention to is we are focusing on Drax as the big deal in this. They are planning to convert 50% of their capacity, which is about 16 million tonnes a year. And they have their AGM on the 24th of April, and we will be there. And we hope you will join us. And we hope your organisations will sign up to support Biofuel Watch at that, in that action. The link to the actions and an alert to try and get the Green Investment Bank, which has lent £100 million to that conversion, to wise up to this, is all on the Biofuel Watch homepage.
So is Drax owned by its own company?
Drax is Drax Group PLC, it's its own company, yes. And of course, why are they doing this? Because they stand to get, yes, I promise, can I just see?
Yeah,
they stand to get huge subsidies, 2.4 billion from the government. It's greenwash, they look good, and they can keep old installations inefficient, polluting, burning, and continue to burn coal in them for many more decades. And the government, of course, it helps them keep the lights on when most of them shouldn't be on in their capacity crisis, meet renewables targets, and keep centralised energy, which is easy to tax. So please join us on the 24th of April. There are flyers here. Talk to me about it if you have any history with Drax or any creative contributions you can make. There is a disreputation competition if you know any artists who are interested in spoiling a few company logos. And please do come to the Extreme Energy event at the end of April, beginning of May, I thought it was, but check that out.
26th of April.
26th of April, let's check.
28th.
Right, okay, 26th of April in Manchester. Yes, help us embarrass the big companies, the government, and the investors out of making this a globally devastating industry. Thank you.
Duncan.